our tigers. Here we go. Tuesday, 3/31. Elasticity of demand. Make sure you take note here. Some important things going on here. So let's see. Law of demand. As price goes up, quantity demanded goes down. As price goes down, quantity demanded goes up. Right? So the focus for today is how responsive is quantity demanded to a change in price? Meaning, if the price goes up by $1, does the quantity demand go down by a lot, a little? We'll see what happens, okay? So the question is, by how much does the quantity demand fall with an increase in price and vice versa? Things that are elastic, guys, are very responsive to a change in price, meaning if you change the price a little bit, the quantity demanded changes greatly. That price should be locked in at that point. That's, for instance, cars and diamonds and clothing. And there's reasons why we'll get into that in a little bit of detail. Things that are inelastic are unresponsive. So no matter what, the quantity demanded changes very little with changes in price. So medicines and baby food and medical care. And we're running into a lot of this right now with everything that's going on with the coronavirus, right? So the elasticity of demand, guys, says it wants to see the same. When the price of a good increases, the quantity demanded for a good falls. PED, price elasticity demand, answers the question, ready? By how much? And that's an important question, and people need to know these things. So how would firms use this? Okay, the question is this: if you have an inelastic good, you should always want to raise prices. Okay, because if you have an elastic good, you probably don't want to raise prices, because as soon as you change price, people aren't going to buy your good anymore. They'll buy something else. How would the government do this? Well, the government would want to tax things that are inelastic. And it would also want to regulate, put a slash here, it would also want to regulate those businesses. That way it could make more money on it. Okay, and we'll get into some of that detail going forward here. Okay, but how do we get there? Here's an example of inelastic demand, right? Milk at 80 cents, oh, I'll take some. Milk at $2.40, boom. Guys, no matter what, I buy 4 gallons of milk for my family every week. It doesn't matter what the price is. I buy it. So I have an inelastic demand. If it's $4 a gallon, I'm buying it. It doesn't matter to me, right? So it's inelastic, insensitive to a change in price. Okay, notice that an inelastic demand curve is steep. It looks like an eye. So the big thing that I want you guys to make sure you get out of this one, right, okay, is the change in quantity, okay, over the change in price. Okay, change in quantity over change in price. Okay, you can see it right there. All right, so let me draw a little line here. There's my little line guy right there. Ooh, right? So the change in quantity, remember, here's the y-axis P, here's the x-axis here. The change in quantity is 5, right? If I come over here, right? 5 over 20. Back to my little line guy, right? What do I do? Okay, that's 1/4, right? So if the price increases, quantity demanded will fall a little. You see a 20% increase in price, just a little bit of a decrease right there, okay? Examples of things of that nature, right? Okay? Gasoline, okay, medicine, diapers, okay? I'm ready. Things that we need right now: masks, ventilators, bread, right? People are still trying to find a way to get through some of these things that we have going on right now, right? So things that are inelastic, goods that typically have few substitutes, goods that are necessities. You know what became inelastic real fast? Toilet paper, right? Things that are a small portion of your income, things that are required now, that are an emergency rather than later, or their coefficient is less than 1. Okay, so if we go back here, 5 over 20 is 1/4, which is 0.25. It's less than 1, so it's inelastic at that point. Change in quantity over change in price. We'll get to that in a minute here, okay? Here's cola, right? Or soda. Yeah, it's cola, my bad. Okay, for $1, oh, I'll buy it for $1. For $3, I'll go buy something else, right? It's funny when you go to the store, typically either Pepsi or Coke is on sale. Typically not on sale at the same time, so you pick the one that's typically on sale, right? So when you look at it over here, right, elastic quantity is sensitive. Okay, change in quantity over the change in price. So notice here it's 15 over 10, right? Let me get my little line guy back out here again. Where are you, little line guy? There you are. Okay, 15 over 10, guys, is 1.5. That's greater than 1. So it's flat. Okay? So people probably aren't going to buy things of this nature. So things that are elastic and examples that have, you're talking about things that have lots of different substitutes. Cars, clothing, typically things like pizza is a very elastic curve. Why? Because there's lots of places out there to go get pizza. Burgers are the same type of thing, right? Many different substitutes. Things that are just a pure luxury. Something that's a large portion of your income. Something you have plenty of time to decide. I mean, you look for airfares 3 or 4 months out, and your coefficient is greater than 1. Remember, we said 1.5, right? Change in quantity over the change in price. Okay, percentage change at that point. We'll get to how to get that in a minute, right? We talked about there's always an incentive to raise prices. So elasticity makes in the context of health insurance, right? If people think health insurance is a necessity, okay, in terms of this point, and you can look at this, guys, right now. You know, they're talking about testing in terms of the coronavirus. For some places, that is an inelastic thing. And that's why the government said they will pay for, most of the insurance companies are saying they're just going to pay for all the copays. Why? Because the people think it's inelastic. There's no time to plan. You have to have it, and there's no substitute for it. It's a really inelastic good. Okay? Here's another one I want to add to. Anything that's typically habit-forming, okay, is inelastic. Alcohol, smoking, drug use, casinos, all those things. Typically, anything that's addictive is habit-forming at that point. Okay, so what does elasticity look on the demand curve? Okay, typically, now you got to make sure you're good about this, all right? But when you look at the demand curve, if it's very steep, if it looks like an eye, right? That means inelastic. Because look, okay, if I come here and I say, here's a change, right? Here's a point there, and here's a point here. And then I go down here and I say, look at that big change in price. And look at that little change in quantity, right? There's that little change, there's that big change in price. That's what elasticity looks like. If I come over here and it's a very flat curve, look, I'll try and do the same change in price. Notice by doing that at that point, this big gap in quantity. So the quantity change is much bigger than the price change. Inelastic looks like an eye. Elastic looks like a very flat curve. Okay, so the question we is going forward here, and we'll use this as part of our review on Wednesday, is which good typically has a more elastic demand, okay? So when we jump into this point, and this will be the last slide of the day. Let me make sure I am here. Yeah, okay? This will be the last slide of the day. We want to look at these PEDs. Remember, anything that is greater than 1 is elastic. Anything that is less than 1 is inelastic. Anything that is exactly 1 is called unit elastic. And that's a little bit weird, but that's okay, because what it's saying is that the percentage change in price will result in the same change in quantity demanded. Okay? Well, it's weird, but okay. Anything that is perfectly elastic is a horizontal curve. So look, there it is. I don't know why I can't see it, but there it is. Okay? That means if the price decreases at all, the quantity demanded will reach infinity. In other words, people will try and get all they can of that product, or if the price increases at all, quantity demanded will fall to 0. It really is hard to have a product where you fall into this thing. Air would be a pretty good question at that point there, where if the price increases at all, that's a really hard one to get to, but that's okay. And the other aspect is if it's perfectly inelastic. If it's 0, right? There's no response to a change in price. If the price goes up 100 times, quantity demand will remain the same. A good example of this, close, not perfect, would be like Super Bowl tickets. You know, I heard Super Bowl tickets were scheduled to go for like $7,000 this past year. So kind of a tough thing to get to at that point. But understand that we're always trying to calculate how to do that. So the last point of the day will be this right here. Okay, we want to try and calculate how to do this at this point. Okay, and this is where we're going to start tomorrow. So first thing we're going to do tomorrow is telling you to be careful. Does the slope of the demand curve tell you whether it's inelastic or elastic? It's just a quick little check, and then we'll jump into a couple other things tomorrow at that point. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed the lesson. Big thing tomorrow, review this, and we'll get into total revenue tomorrow. Okay, have a great day. Go Tigers.